Welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook. Right now we're going to talk about our home seller disclosure module, or I call it the home seller disclosure workshop. This is step one. Our goal is to help you sell your home for top dollar, starting by disclosing properly and well, and using the process of disclosures to help you sell your home for top dollar, unopen the buyer's pockets by relaxing them and feeling like you're being credible, allowing them to be wanting to be the winning bidder. It's a little more complicated, but later we'll talk about how it also sets up to make sure your real estate agents help you sell for top dollar. Don't make mistakes, help them with the process. And in fact, it helps me if you hire me to do it, or if you actually work with me when I refer you to an agent. It's very easy to get a substantial referral fee because we've actually done the work with you, and that's what this process is for. But again, right now, the workshop's only $7, and if you go to winnerscheck.com, it's $7 now. It's March. It will probably go up over time, but that's what we're going to do. So the first thing is, let's go take a look at the back end of it. Let's see what you should do. Now, this is going to change over time. This is where you put your questions in. This is useful information for buyers and sellers. I'm going to have to... and then this is... you're going to have to give me a second. I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so you're going to go in through there. And I'm back. Sorry about that. And this is at winnerscheck.com. And the first thing you're going to do is you come down to Facts, Access, Core California Disclosure Forms. And I would start with the transfer disclosure statement right here. Here it is. You click on here, and you can read the information, but you're going to download either. This is the form from the DRE, right? And this is the form from RPI. And if you are trying to sell your home without California real estate agent forms, RPI is a good place for forms. I like their forms. I'm not saying they're perfect. I wouldn't even say California realtor forms will prevent lawsuits. But these forms are solid, and there's some good things in it. So that we're gonna click on that one now instead of the Cal Realtor form, because I don't think I might eventually put the California Association Realtor form in here too. I do have it for the next one we're going to be looking at. So you go through here. I think if you do inspection reports and things like that, you would want to disclose them. If you had a previous buyer back out of your sale, they shared their report with you, you probably do have to disclose it. So I would just include it. And then if it was problems, I'd work around the problems. But anyway, here's the point. You go through here, and this is very important for your agent when they're looking to put your property on the MLS, or very important for you when you're advising the buyers what's going to transfer with the property, what's not. So the basic thing here, the biggest pro tip in here is if you're selling an appliance that's not working, or if there's an appliance that's not working in your property, take it out, right? Don't have someone come back later and say, I want $300 for a broken trash compactor from 20 years ago and that hasn't been working in 10 years. Just take it out. Or say, there's a trash compactor, but we've left it in and the property's being sold to you as is with respect to that trash compactor, which brings up another point. All properties are being sold as is with the right of inspection. So the buyer makes an offer on your property. They have an inspector come in, and then they look at the report, and then they have a choice. They can say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy, or I will buy if you make these changes, or sometimes they say, I will buy if you reduce the cost of your home. By doing your disclosures ahead of time, and maybe even doing, it's up to you, and we can talk about it. There's times where it might even make sense to pay for an inspector, make the repairs, say this is the property's pre-inspected, pre-repaired, pre-disclosed, and we have a homeowner's warranty. That can really unleash buyers in a multiple offer process. But for now, you're saying these are our disclosures. Please make your offers contingent on the information in here, because we will not be disclosing, and we're not going to negotiate on those points. I mean, you can explain to them if you have the time, or your agent has the time, why you're doing it that way. But make your offers understanding these are the disclosures, and these are the things we've chosen to repair. You make a list. I've repaired. These are the things that are selling as is. Now you've eliminated one of the biggest tricks that crafty buyers agents tell their buyers. Don't worry, be the winning bidder in a multiple offer situation, then we'll get the money back on the inspection process. Because an agent who may have walked through their property with a buyer knows that the property's 20 years old, they're going to find stuff. If it's only 2 years old, it might not be as strong a deal. But it's happened to me on renovating homes, so I'm just giving you. It's happened many times. Buyers frequently ask for money back. I'd say 4 of the last 7 sales I've been involved in. Two of the more recent sales involved bay windows that needed a lot of work. Bay windows can be expensive, so you might want to disclose that. Now I'm saying you're buying the property as is, the way the bay window is, because there may have been a leak there. The wood might not be strong, and you're going to know those things. So you go through the property. Are you aware of substances? Was your property a meth house? Rooms additions. This room's additions, structural modifications. I just got a call last week on this. There were rooms added to a home. They were not properly permitted, or they were not permitted recently. The permit had been like 20 years old, but the homes were built more recently, so they weren't properly permitted. This is the fact pattern told to me by the buyer, and they weren't done properly, and they were flimsy. So now he's going to have trouble. He's put a lot of money in the house. He's going to have trouble reselling it, and he wanted to talk about his options. He's unfortunately hiring an attorney, and he may wind up having to do a short sale or working something out with the bank. So I think you want to make sure that you disclose what you know. So really, that's this form. The next form I'm going to talk to you about is the here we come back here. Is the Fast Access California Core Disclosure Form, TDS and SPQ. So here's the SPQ. You download it. Now this is a sample. Let's pull it open. So this is what you do. Now, when you go through here, one of the things you want to understand is that seller awareness. If you do not understand how to answer a question or what to disclose or how to make a disclosure in response to a question, whether on this form or a TDS, you should consult a real estate attorney in California of your choosing. A broker cannot answer the questions for you or advise you on the legal sufficiency of any answers or disclosures you provide. Now, that's the point of our course. You're going to go through your home. You're going to do these disclosures. You're probably going to have questions. Did I disclose too much? Did I disclose too little? Am I supposed to disclose? Well, we'll get to a few of the questions. Since this is our first one, I've already got a few questions here prepared that people have already wanted to know. We'll go through those at the end of this. But where did it go now? SPQ. You're going to have those questions, and that's why we have live coaching calls. You can submit your questions inside here. I'll cover them in a call just like this next week, and I'll post the answers in here. The other thing is as you're going through the property, you're going to go through room by room and take notes, write things down as you discover. Go through each room in your house, as this form may jog your memory, and you're going to write it out. There's so many benefits from this. The first one being is as you go through your home, if you're finding a bunch of things wrong with your property, you're going to realize when you're looking at the comps, if the other comps are fully renovated, you're going to realize your home's not fully renovated, and you're going to know how to price your home accordingly. Because many times, whether they be relatives or sellers, when you start looking at prices of homes being sold first, you see this great home and you're like, wow, I wonder if I can get that price. And if the really strong up market, if your home needs work and that home was renovated, unless you're in a really strong up market, you're probably not going to get those prices, because every buyer now sees what's on the internet. Not every buyer, but almost every buyer looks at the pictures. They know what they're dealing with. And I'll tell you, after looking at 5 or 7 homes with a buyer, those buyers become sort of the expert on pricing in your neighborhood, because they're seeing the active homes and they know the pictures and they're prepared. And so you need to go through the property and recognize how your property stacks up against the competition. And we'll talk about pricing in the next module. But based on that, then you can make decisions. Should I make a repair? Should I do paint and carpet? Because in the next module, we're going to talk about how you want to have your maximum likely selling price, given the competition right now in the market, given recent comps, fair market value, and then I'm going to suggest to you you should know a price that you'd be willing to sell at if you hit it, and email that one to yourself, because over time emotions change things, but you need to know where you were when you were looking at it based on pricing. And then finally, if you're going to work with a realtor or do it yourself, you also want to know what your starting price is, and that's sort of a psychology thing depending on your selling method, and we'll go over that. Sometimes a range is the way to go there. But anyway, you go through the property, you answer these questions, and you can just scribble them down. So in the very next step after doing this is I suggest you click on the next link where I provide a questionnaire for you. You fill out your name, you fill out the property address, and your email and a phone number, and I'll send you a link to our software so that you can type it in. It comes out beautifully. Instead of spending 2 or 3 hours on it, you'll probably spend 20, 25 minutes. And then if you still have questions, you can either submit your questions, I'll answer them at a live, or if you want a personal consult, there'll be a link in the members area where you can set up a consult with me to go over your disclosures. This link will be at a substantial discount to the normal price I charge. And many realtors have referred their sellers to me. I've done many of these things. I'll just give you a little hint. We have sort of 2 levels of thoughts on this. There's the answer it as if it's a deposition, give nothing more, nothing less. That's the safest. But some people are like, well, if I answer it that way, it looks really scary. Can I explain it? And many times I will say, sure, you can explain it, but don't create liability while you're explaining it. So I'll give people examples of what I would consider something they might say, short and sweet. So like the home leaked, for instance. Well, we'll get into it. Here's some questions right here. Where did those questions go? It was under Untitled Docs. Okay, so should I disclose paint? One of the questions we just got. Should I disclose paint flaws? And I'm wording it as paint flaws on purpose. That's not really the way the question is asked. But if you're seeing like chips in the paint or lack of perfect painting, I don't think courts would consider that a material defect in the property. Besides, it would be pretty obvious to people inspecting. But I don't know if that necessarily, like if there's not a lot wrong with your property and you want to seem like you are credible and you're explaining stuff, you might say the painting was done by hand and it is flawed. Or the paint's 5 years old and there is some chipping or peeling in the bathroom area. Probably not a material defect, but it sets the stage right for them to trust you if you're revealing this stuff. And there's nothing wrong with doing too much of it. So I think there's the proper way to do it. Answer the call to question. Don't disclose more or less. Then there's using the truth, but setting the right psychology. So showing some things that you might not necessarily be a material defect, but doing it. So I say, yeah, talk about the paint sometimes. Now, what happens when there's paint cracks? There's cracks in the wall. That could be paint. It could be the wall. I think you have to disclose it because almost every buyer gets an inspection, especially working with the agent. Many buyers work with agents, and the agents are going to have to disclose these things they see, and agents don't want to get sued, so they talk about the line on the wall. They don't say it could mean there's a foundation issue. They just say cracks on wall, outside the house, inside the house, everywhere. The agents are going to do it anyway. Let's say you believe that the cracks on a fireplace are just cosmetic. Disclose them anyway, because it sets the prior. And let's say everyone walking through the room could see it. Well, I think a buyer's on notice that they should have that inspected if they're concerned. So they probably wouldn't win in a lawsuit, but why bother? Why not disclose it? That way you seem more credible. You're selling the property as is. You're going to sell it for more by setting buyers' expectations properly than not disclosing stuff and having it discovered later. And that happens. I've had 2 buyers walk away from multi-million-dollar purchases in Orange County recently because there had been evidence of leaks and floods. So, inspectors are pretty smart. Now, Now, one of the things that comes up a lot was like, as I said before, the bay windows. Like, you're going to know when your windows are open and close easily. And almost every inspector comes through and opens and closes the windows. And if they don't open, that puts them on notice. They also look around for evidence of moisture. They look around to see if there's signs that moisture had sort of invaded. And those windows can turn out to be, on bigger houses, surprisingly, 5-figure money, 14, 15, sometimes $20,000 in repairs, 4, 5, 6, 8. I mean, I've seen all different estimates from repair people, but they can be substantial money. If I know that that's an issue in my home, I'm going to, one, you have to disclose it. It's a material fact. But even then, I want to disclose it. And I'm going to say, but we're not repairing it. Please make your offers, understanding that the window doesn't close well enough and that there had once been a leak. It appears to us dry, but we haven't repaired it. Make sure that you state facts. Okay, so this would go like, I've had a leak in our roof. We repaired it. It hasn't leaked since. If I'm saying that, I'm saying there had been a leak in our roof. We saw it in our family room. And we had it repaired, or I actually had, it was during a flood season. No one could get repair people in there. So we went up on the roof. We repaired it ourselves. Here are the receipts. We used the black paper well out past the intrusion area. We did an attempt at waterproofing process around the chimney. And since we did all this, we hadn't had a leak since. I wouldn't say it's fixed, right? I just said we have not noticed any water incursions since. Appliances. I think I just told you, if the appliances are coming with you, well, if the appliances need to be repaired and you don't want to repair them, take them out. If the appliances are coming with you, like that fridge in the garage, put a sign on it, take a picture of it, or just get it out of there. Extra refrigerators frequently cause problems at closing because the buyer thinks it's in my garage. I'm going to take it with it. The buyer thinks they're going to get it. The seller thinks it's in the garage. I'm going to take it with me. Deal with it properly. All right, so that is our intro to disclosures. In California, the seller wants to fill out that TDS. That's mandatory. If you're using the California Association of Realtor forms, you're going to want to use that seller property questionnaire. Even if you're going to sell to a fast buyer, you want to set their expectations properly by disclosing, so they feel like they know who they're buying the home from, and the type of person you are, and that you disclose well, because they're going to do inspections, and if you point it out to them, they're going to feel like maybe you've told them everything. Let's see, what else is there. There is we'll cover it in the next lessons. So for next week now, put your questions in the area, and maybe I'll just be able to go right to them, because I believe by downloading those forms, walking through the homes, preparing them on the software, most of your questions will probably be ready, and then we can go to the next module, pricing your home, and then setting your home up for a top dollar sale, understanding those prices, and then deciding whether you're going to do it on your own or hire one of the top realtors in your area at discount prices if you ask us to help you negotiate that for you. So welcome to our home seller disclosure. Well, welcome to our home seller workshop, and welcome to this part of it, the home seller disclosure module. Find out more at winnerscheck.com, and you can always join if you're seeing this in the future. Well, as long as it's still there, winnerscheck.com. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.